I wanted to make this short video to talk about the concept of change from within and the whole idea of self-care and why it's so important for gender professionals and why I'm so passionate about it. So I've been working as a gender and social development specialist for more than 15 years. I started working for the Australian government and I've been consulting across Asia and the Pacific since 2008. I'm also trained as a counsellor and hypnotherapist, and I work here in the United States primarily with business owners, helping them to build and grow their business, but more from a business psychology mindset, because we all have limiting beliefs and thoughts and patterns and programs, and they show up in people's businesses. So working with them to reduce their stress and anxiety and to build and grow their business at the same time. I've still been doing some technical gender work this past year, but cutting back more and more so that I can focus on the coaching work. And here's why. So earlier this year, so it's now just before Christmas in 2018, and earlier at the start of this year I was sitting in a meeting with some amazing feminist women talking about changing systems of power and power dynamics, and one person was talking about how we were talking about resistance and backlash, and she was saying that she really enjoyed it when she had to fight. She really enjoyed it when the work was hard, and almost like the more effort she put in, the more reward she felt. And a light bulb kind of went off for me, because I thought to myself, wouldn't it be better if it was easier? And would you be willing to let it be easier? And so the work that I've done with business owners and all the stuff I've done on mindset, I really firmly believe that, our thoughts do help to create and shape our reality. And so if we're expecting resistance and backlash, and showing up expecting it, I thought to myself, I wonder how that might be, perpetuating the problem. And at the time, I was feeling kind of burnt out because of the resistance and backlash that I had been experiencing. And I was fed up with the people that I was working with, feeling like they just wanted to tick the box, that no one ever wanted to do gender properly. And so I thought to myself, I wonder what other gender professionals are experiencing. So I set out to find out, and I've conducted interviews with gender specialists around the world to find out what is it that as a profession we are experiencing. And it was super interesting because no matter who I spoke to, no matter where they lived or what kind of background they came from, there were a number of different themes that came out. To summarize them really briefly, so many amazing women and some men who I also interviewed who grew up with this dream of wanting to change the world, and then somewhere along the way started experiencing anxiety and stress and overwhelm. And they kind of, a lot of people that I spoke to are in this place right now where they feel like they've lost sight of that dream, and so they've become a bit jaded and burnt out. Lots of people talked about experiencing anxiety. Lots of people talked about experiencing this feeling of like no matter what they do, it's never enough and there's always more work to be done. And they're not only experiencing that in their work, but experiencing it at home. And so they're desperately trying to create these changes out in the world and feeling like that is coming at the expense of their relationships with their kids and their family. So no matter what they do, there's always some sense of compromise and some sense of guilt. A number of people definitely talked about resistance and backlash and feeling like it was getting worse, and as a result of that also experiencing compromise because they felt that they had to give in order sometimes just to create the smallest amount of change. Also not feeling valued as a profession, and so then second guessing themselves every time someone questioned them or someone questioned their value. And it became quite personal. Because this work is so personal, it's like when someone is questioning the value of gender expertise, people feeling like their value was being questioned and second guessing themselves. So stress, anxiety, overwhelm, resistance, backlash, burnout, guilt, and people feeling like they've kind of lost sight of themselves. And the term I use, I guess, would be sort of disconnected and definitely stressed. And then another thing that came out of the research was people commenting that even though they were working in these organizations that were trying to create change, often feeling like the external values that the organization was trying to promote were not being modeled within the organization. So organizations actually not treating their staff that well. And again, experiencing disconnect as an organization. And so that's kind of what I discovered about how people are feeling. And then the other thing that really interests me is in international development, we tend to focus on technical solutions to problems, technical training, changing systems and processes, or building things, and we're not really looking at mindset at all. And all I do with my business clients is look at their mindset and how that's showing up in their business. And by doing that, have supported them to create amazing changes in their businesses, to build and grow them, but also to help them personally with their own stress and anxiety. And I feel like in international development, we're not looking at any of that mindset work at all, and then wondering why the changes are not sustainable. So I've been moving away from doing the technical gender work myself because I am super passionate about helping gender professionals and other professionals working in international development and in change maker roles, and people working in women's rights issues to have more of an impact, but not at the expense of themselves, their relationships, their family. There is a different way. We have been conditioned to believe that we have to work harder and longer and do more and be more and give more in order to create change. And I want people to know that there is a different way, that you can create those changes and still stay aligned with your values and do it in a way that's really supportive of yourself. So I have developed a specific coaching program, one-on-one mentoring and coaching for gender specialists to support in that area. I'm also working at the organizational level to help organizations with strategic planning, team building, and to help organizations to reconnect to their values and to plan in more of a heart-centered way instead of everything coming from the head, to also connect back to that heart and to that passion, and to look at how they are operating as an organization. And then the third thing that I'm doing is working to just talk about this more in international development and to look for opportunities within women's rights work or international development to start building in more of that mindset work into organizational development, into system strengthening and things like that. So I firmly believe that this idea of change from within absolutely applies in our sector. If we are trying to help people move from lack and limitation, we're trying to promote equality, we're trying to do all of these things out in the world, we can only take people so far as where we're willing to go. We need to look at our own beliefs and thoughts and patterns and behaviors around lack and scarcity, and heal ourselves so that we can be that change, and then we can lead by example. We need to do that so we can have more of an impact, but we also absolutely need that self-care piece so that we can continue to work in the sector without burning ourselves out, and so that it's not at the expense of our families and our relationships and other aspects of our lives. So that is what I am focusing on, and I would absolutely love to talk more about it. I have some clients right now working in change agent roles who have given me permission to share some of the amazing results that they are having from this program, and I would love to share those. So the next step would be for us to make a time to talk so that I can share more and you can ask any questions. So I'll be looking forward to that. Thanks.